That's right. Today we are finishing up the overhead cab.
Did I hit it?
Oh, yeah. You didn't know we were hiding under there, did ya?
We were under the table the whole time.
We hope you all had a very Merry Christmas if you celebrate Christmas. Happy holidays. We took a little bit of a break. It was very nice. Spent some time with our family here. Ate too much, drank too much. Classic. Now, we're back to the RV and we are pretty excited. We're working on a super fun project.
We're at the point where we can actually start to finalize stuff and rebuild some stuff. So our plan is to kind of work our way from the front onto the back of the RV. So that means the overhead cab sleeping area. We're gonna finish it for the most part.
It was the first thing we really ripped to pieces, and now it'll be the first thing we're rebuilding. I feel like we're coming full circle.
It's taken us a while to get here, mainly because we've been waiting on one important item that is necessary to do this project.
Okay.
And that's this. It's all gonna come crashing down. Our insulation.
It's here.
Here it is. You guys probably wouldn't believe how difficult it was to just come to a conclusion on what the best insulation is for like an RV rebuild or a van build. People have a lot of opinions about it. There are many, many options. I'm not gonna get into all those in this video, but I am gonna tell you what we settled on, and that is wool insulation. That's right, it is the wool from a sheep. The reason this insulation is so good is because it is R7, which means that it insulates very well. It is moisture resistant, just like sheep are out in the wild. It is also mildew resistant, and you don't have to use any personal protective gear when you install it because it's completely organic. There are no chemicals involved in this process whatsoever.
No, we do not have to worry about any off-gassing or anything like that. It is just beautiful and ready to go and keep us nice and toasty.
This insulation is from Havelock Wool. They actually make insulation specifically for van lifers, as it says right here on the bag. Here's one we already opened. It just looks like a bunch of wool sweater material, and when you open it up, it does have the faint, like a barnyard smell to it.
I mean, it's straight off of sheep. It's wild, and it's not processed or chemically treated or anything, so it's just the real deal.
It's very soft.
I know.
You can hug your insulation.
Nice. Yeah.
It just feels wrong. All right, I think we're ready to do our overhead cab install.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited!
I'm excited-ish. Got a lot of work ahead of us, guys.
It's gonna be great!
Let's get started. There's insulation all over the camera. We're in the process of insulating the bottom part where the bed's gonna be. So this stuff is really interesting. So it doesn't itch at all. It's not really irritating us, and it comes apart very easily like this. So we're finding that this makes it really easy to customize how thick you want stuff to be. We put one layer down and then realized we needed a little bit more, so you can just peel off this tiny little layer and then place that in there where you want it. There you go. We're not exactly sure how thick to make it, but we're going to, since this is the sleeping area, we want this to be obviously very insulated. So we're gonna err on the side of putting a lot in there. If we have enough left over, we can make a nice scarf out of it.
Ooh, you're gonna get into knitting? We've just been cutting the wool down to size with scissors. I think maybe a better option would be a sharp knife if you have the knife in the surface, but we're making it do with scissors.
Yeah, we're gonna get some sharper scissors. I think that's the best way to do it.
Yeah, I think these are the world's crappiest scissors. We've been using them all summer and they've just about had it, but they're getting the job done. Might get a callus or two.
We've got this really fun game going on where you try to guess the shape of the insulation, kind of like guessing the shape of a cloud.
Check it out, it's Missouri.
We've made the state of Missouri, you guys.
And or a boot, maybe Mississippi.
Or we've just completely lost our minds. Now we played the game of Will It Fit?
Will it fit?
This is really awkward.
I know.
How do we do this? I'm sure there's a much better way to do this. We didn't think this one
through.
We were debating whether or not we should do this in 2 pieces. Maybe we should have done that.
Oh god, okay. Oh baby.
Oh.
Woohoo! Yes.
Like a glove. We have the first of many mistakes we're gonna be making today. This fits more or less, but what we completely forgot about was that we were meant to cut off this 5/8 or so for this piece of plywood, so it's supposed to sit in here, about a 1/4 inch. But we forgot about that.
Yeah. So this whole area is 48 inches wide, so we're like, perfect, this is 48 inches, but we forgot that it's 48 inches to the outside of this little piece.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh boy. We get to do it again!
Hooray. Let's try this again. Well, okay.
You got it?
Go on here.
Sorry.
Now it's like a glove. Glove-ish. We've got the bottom surface in, you guys. Don't judge our handiwork. We had to just go kind of buck wild with the screws because the surface up here is not very level. So we just basically screwed it at every single spot we could to make sure it's all sucked together.
But this will forever be covered by a big mattress, so it doesn't really matter.
Doesn't need to look good, guys. But now, it's lunchtime. Sushi time.
Sushi time!
We'll see you there. Sushi!
Yay!
We've been eating sushi like 3 times a week. Too much sushi? I say
Never.
impossible. All right, but we're gonna eat this and then we have a bunch of stuff we gotta get at Menards. So we'll actually see you there. You guys, we really like these kinds of patterns. It's just like end grain of wood cut into these little geometric shapes. However, that is the price for this one piece here.
Yeah, and you can only buy it in cartons, so 150 bucks. We don't need that much. Our space is not that big. We're thinking we're just gonna DIY it,
yeah,
right?
So maybe we'll find a big post of wood, cut it down to these shapes, and do it for, you know, 1/10 of the price. I don't know.
That's hopefully, or it'll fail miserably and we'll just do a blank wall.
We're back at it, and now we have to make one of the harder cuts. So this is the front window of the overhead cab, and we went in there and just basically measured every single possible thing we could, just to make sure we don't mess this up. But we just have to cut out this window here, then it's gonna fit in perfectly. Yeah. It's getting cold out here, you guys. Whew. But we're powering through. So we cut this panel that just goes to this bottom area here. We stuffed it full of insulation. So what we've been doing is we have this flexible hold liquid nails. So it'll flex a little bit since we're gonna be moving. We've just been putting this down and then applying the panels, and then we're gonna apply brad nails to hold it in place. So this thing shouldn't be going anywhere, hopefully.
Bottom piece is installed. We're about to put our front piece on, but that means that we have to take off the frame for this new window that we got. If you guys remember, this window is held on by the inside, so we're gonna take this off, and all that's gonna be holding the glass in is sealant and hopefully gravity. It's leaning back a little bit, so we're just hoping it's just gonna stay there, nice and pretty.
And maybe one of us should go around to the other side, you know, just to make sure.
Eric ran out to hold the window in place.
Here, go for it.
There he is. It's gonna be so fine.
This thing's in here super tight. I think it's gonna be all right.
Oh, maybe we should switch spots. I'm gonna let Eric do the muscling because I don't want to be the one responsible for breaking everything.
Man, it really sucks taking apart something you've already put together. So what we forgot is that the window came with this pad here that has one sticky, or it's sticky on both sides, and it's really sticky. So it works, but now we have to pull it right off. Dang, we did not think that one through. Quick update, I've been like this all day, so I don't have bad neck cramps. On a more serious note, we finally got the window installed. We didn't really film much of it because it was actually really hard to do. We ended up getting a new gasket that was made out of foam, and then we applied it to the back side of these just because it was a little bit thinner, and the other one was kind of worn out because we had taken it off. But now it's back on and it looks really good.
Better than before, I might add.
Yeah, actually. Tell them what we're doing next.
Next is part of the ceiling.
Yes, the ceiling, you guys.
Woo, woo.
Can we pull it off? Well, I'm sure we'll put it on, then we'll find some reason to pull it off because we messed it up. These are the planks we are going to put long ways on our ceiling. These are cedar planks, aromatic cedar actually.
They have been airing out in our garage, acclimating to the weather.
At first we opened them and the smell punches you in the face.
Yeah.
It's so strong and spicy, but after you let them sit for a few days, the smell kind of goes away and you can only smell it if you get real close.
No.
And now it actually smells pretty pleasant because it's subtle. The reason we went with cedar is because cedar is kind of an antimicrobial and it's like mildew resistant, so it's got some of those built-in properties. We debated whether or not we wanted to seal these with like a polyurethane. We tried sealing it with this natural sealer that we found, but it ended up changing the color of them too much.
Yeah, it turned it all yellow and it was too much. So we just decided we're just gonna leave them raw.
And in my research, I found a lot of other people who use cedar planks just like this, left them raw, and they didn't really see huge issues with the wood swelling with moisture or contracting when it gets cold. Some people said how they went into minus temperatures and then into like temperatures over 100 and they never had problems. So we're gonna take a chance. We can always seal it in the future if we want to.
Or it'll be really easy to change out, worst case scenario, if it just fails horribly.
Now we actually have to figure out how to get these properly installed. We've been preparing for this moment mentally for a while, but wish us luck, I guess.
Now is the time.
We are off to the races with these ceiling panels, you guys. So I want to kind of explain to you guys our strategy. This is our first time doing this. I'm sure there's a ton of things we could be doing better, but our idea is basically to leave a gap here. This is what the instructions say. This just allows, kind of like a floating floor, it allows room for it to flex and swell, so it's not really tightly cramped in there. We're putting adhesive on each one of these supports. Then we're kind of sliding it in, and then we're putting a single brad nail on the supports. And the brad nail basically just holds it together while the glue cures. So this is all just what the instructions that come with the wood say to do. But we also decided to put the smallest little gap in between them, the size of this little putty knife, just to allow for a little bit of flexing, because this wood is going to flex depending on the temperature and the moisture in the air and stuff. So hopefully with all those precautions, the wood will have enough room to move and we won't have pieces that are like bowing out and popping off. And if we do, we'll just fix them later. This has proved to be a challenge, but satisfying when you get a plank up there. Don't let perfect get in the way of good enough. That's what I always say. That's a nice excuse for not doing it right. You gotta really contort to do this.
Beautiful.
Okay, and we actually put a chalk line on these in the garage, and our idea is just to line up the chalk line, which corresponds to these supports here, and that's where we do our brad nails.
Yeah, so hopefully it'll look really nice and straight instead of just being wonky everywhere.
The hardest part about this insulation is just that when you put it in the ceiling, there's nothing to really hold it there. But we figured since we're kind of putting these on one at a time, we'll just do a few, then stuff the insulation in there, more or less, and then Bob's your uncle.
Great.
We'll just do it as we go. There you have it. Insulated. Progress is being made, you guys. We actually ended up quitting when it was starting to get dark because it was just so freaking cold.
Y'all, it was in the 30s. It was awful.
Yeah, but it's a new day. We've had some frustrations today off camera, but we're pulling through it. As you can see, though, the ceiling is turning out really good. I mean, this looks pretty nice.
Looks so pretty.
Yeah. So we've cut out all around the fan over here.
Yes.
That actually went really well. It's super easy. The insulation's been a little finicky. Our technique has just been to do a few of these and stuff it in, then do a few and stuff it in. We figured that's one of the advantages of doing the planks. If you were to put whole plywood sheets in here, then you'd have to find a way to adhere this. A lot of people will use adhesive, but I feel like that defeats the purpose, using an unnatural adhesive with a completely natural insulation product. So, of course, not everything can be super low VOC and natural. So we've got liquid nails for the adhesive. It's give and take.
I guess, yeah. You look really terrible as a blonde, actually.
Yeah, how does this
I'm realizing.
Are you getting the
Oh,
image?
God. It's horrible. The time has come. We're putting in the very last piece. A perfect fit.
Yep. Roof installed.
Oh my gosh. How do you feel, babe? Like you need a massage?
Well, I'm gonna be pretty sore after this, that's for sure.
All right, y'all. I think our little nook is looking pretty good. So I was working on cutting out these two side panels over here. They're not quite there. There was a lot of measuring issues, but we're gonna fix it. It's gonna be fine. But so you can see the angles at least are correct, and that's what is the most important at the moment. So we won't be leaving this all plain and beige. It's not going to be like a piece from IKEA. As we mentioned back at when we were at Menards, we are going to try to make a really cool accent wall on these two side panels here. We bought this really beautiful piece of cedar timber and we cut it into a bunch of rectangles. They're all kind of at different sizes. So we're thinking maybe we'll do kind of like a subway tile inspired wall, but with wood, and they'll all be like at different heights and stuff, and maybe it'll look cool and artsy. And
so we wanted to get to this in this video, but time got away from us, and we're going on a little trip.
Yeah, so that's gonna be exciting. We are just doing a little short close by trip, but it should be a lot of fun. We just it's been a bit hectic with the holidays and trying to finish stuff up out here. It's getting very cold, so we need a little bit of a breather. I feel like we did something today. I feel like we always say we're going to do something in a video, and sometimes we don't ever accomplish it. But we accomplished this, dang it.
I'm mostly just glad we got the ceiling in.
I know.
I mean, that I didn't think we would actually finish, but there it is.
There is like a really pretty piece to the fan that goes in and covers all this, and we have lights that'll go in here. Yeah. There's a lot of details. We got to paint.
And the reason they're cut off right here is because there's actually a decline that starts right there, and we're going to put a transition piece here that's going to have like a curtain track.
Yeah, so this will be just kind of its own area. I think it's going to be a really fun part of the RV, and it's where we're going to sleep every night, so I hope it turns out okay. All right, goodbye, adventurers.
We'll see you on the road.